I guess I want to say that it doesn't sound like these men are talking about anything necessarily criminal. And I'm making that point for a reason. We'll get to it later. But definitely, I think, in poor taste and very much misogynistic in a way that I don't think the relationship between black men and black women in pop culture these days can sustain. But what does Michael Harriot think?
Well, I think there's a couple of things that we have to consider. One, the first thing is like there are men who are misogynists. And, that's been true 50 years ago. That was true 20 years ago. And it's true today. Right.
Okay.
But I also think that, it's easy to cherry pick a few popular podcasts and then think it is indicative of something that is going on overall or something that is going on in the culture. When the truth is.
Did we say that? We said that before.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We choose to listen to them. Like, I got a podcast. Like, Neil deGrasse Tyson has a podcast. And, like, Greg Carr has a podcast. And we're talking about, like, some rappers from the 2000s.
That's hate.
Some people who were athletes and then expecting to hear something that's different from locker room talk and people who were rappers in the 2000s.
He has a point right there.
It's weird to me. Like, there is misogyny, some of the things that they say or like what we would call problematic, but it is also what you would expect to hear from people who you give a mic to and platform and say, hey, say stuff into a microphone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very important point of accountability you're making there, Michael, which is we can't kind of over-index our consumption of a particular type of black man's content, former rappers, former athletes, washed up, people that no longer participate in the thing that they used to at the highest level anymore, and then complain that it's misogynistic. When you're right, there are many black men who have access to microphones that are talking about extremely empowering things, even as they relate to black women.
You want me to do it?
You can go ahead. You can start.
Eboni K Williams is embarrassing to black people. I feel comfortable in saying that. I will stand on that hill. And then what's so sad is I have on record of me wanting to photograph her, to speak to her, to sit down, because my introduction to Eboni K Williams was on the Breakfast Club, and her sounding super intelligent, realizing she's from Charlotte, realizing she went to Chapel Hill, all these beautiful things, and realizing her fighting for black people. But only thing that Eboni K Williams have proven to me for the last year is that she sold her soul for clicks. Eboni K Williams has shown me how she sold her soul to be a double agent, because let me tell you this, when it's go time, when Eboni K Williams want to talk to black women and tell them who they should date and how they should date down and all this other BS, black women get her straight real quick, and then she go back into hiding. But you know what? Like we spoke about off mic, because it's going to get edited out, black men have become so much of low-hanging fruit that it's go time, and you can take shots.
You can take shots, anything you want to get off your chest. And here's the thing. I get so sick of everybody be like, you should never get y'all mics and blah, blah, blah. Look, this is a new medium. It's here.
It's here, and it's not going nowhere.
It's not going nowhere. Like, podcasting is what the news, industry was in the late 1800s.
Facts.
This is here. This is the beginning stages of it. And I like everyone having access. I like when I hear somebody that I disagree with say something. I like somebody that when they say, how they actually feel, even if it's anti-me, I like that information being out there. I like us not having to pretend that we feel a certain type of way because there's no evidence of, people being bigots or people being racist or people being misandrous or people being misogynistic. But the last thing I'm going to say is y'all have to stop saying that men are misogynistic just because we have a difference of opinion.
Facts. Well, here's my issue. I ain't even offer her yet. Bruh, sorry, I gotta do it. We gotta have this conversation. Eboni K Williams is a clown, bro. Like, it's almost embarrassing, because I look at your numbers. I look at what your numbers do when you talk about, hey, uplifting the community, or when you try to talk. But you know what happens? And I feel like this. Somebody over there at her network doing what she does is saying, hey, numbers ain't looking down. We got to get them back up. And when we look at the board of like, what's the quickest way to get these numbers up? A gender war amongst black people will work.
Yeah. So that's always the go-to.
I don't like you saying washed up men from the 2000s, misogynistic podcast, and then you start throwing strays.
Especially when you're our age. Hell, absolutely. Not even your age. She's my age.
Facts. So we looking at it, and Cameron who's built a platform where, hey, he talks to Mace, he catches a stray. Gilbert Arenas catches a stray. For what? I know what you're doing. You trying to get on their radar so now they can talk about you. So now that you can become in a cycle where you debate these men who you know you are more educated than. Not saying you smarter than them. You just have more education. And then you know they got bigger numbers than you. So it's going to help you and your brand. Yo, you working for another. You are a double agent to me. Now,
I think that's been
clear.
That's been like the internet, especially Twitter in general, when it comes to everybody that's been misandric, right? Like they're able to get it all off while still on one hand saying, "Oh, black girl magic, pro blackness, you know, waist beads, septum ring."
He said,
right? Like for real, like it's like the cosplay outfit of being pro black while hating black men.
It's disgusting.
And then when we call it out and we're just like, all right, man, we're gonna tell men to like, you know, avoid y'all. Now everybody's upset because they're understanding that the good dudes out here, right, good bros, don't know how to communicate with women. We're gonna get to that at the end. But you know, those men aren't gonna be there at 38, 39 to accept them having a little, you know, Baquan baby.
And you know, all right, so let's get to the meat of it. Misogynistic podcasts, are they out there? Sure. We've seen them get demonetized.
We've seen them get, I mean, probably the biggest one get, you know, demonetized.
We've seen, and you know what?
And here's the thing, that pod was never supported by black men. Even though it was two men cosplaying as African American, they were not.
Yeah.
They were Somali and Haitian, I believe. But they was cosplaying like they were actually African American. African American men, by and large, did not follow that podcast.
And so then we look at it. Well, what is Eboni doing? What is who she work for? The Griot?
I don't know, Griot. Yeah.
Yeah. What are they doing to say, yo, you know what? The non-misogynistic podcast. Let's start highlighting them.
Well, I mean, it's so hard because again, if you just simply disagree, you are a misogynist, right?
Facts.
Like if I just simply say like, hey,
or you gaslight.
we don't want, you know, out of wedlock babies, right? Like, oh, you know, we should have a conversation when we meet a woman with the kid to figure out like, hey, what the hell happened between you and that child's father, right? What is that child's father relationship in that child's life, right? Just simply asking these questions is almost like, well, you hate women. Like, no, like, come on, man. Like, you are being very, 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 very stupid right now.
Absolutely.
In this conversation. And we don't say that. We don't really let people know that, like, yo, you're being a dumbass in this conversation. And right now, that is the conversation. Any kind of pushback whatsoever, it's like, oh, you're a fucking misogynist. And they're trying to push something here because what they're seeing is there is a rise of black male podcasts that actually has high quality content, and they're not athletes, they're not entertainers, they're not rappers, they are college educated, and they're saying not only the same thing, but they're saying it better. And they see that tsunami coming, and they're like, "Oh, shit." Because a lot of pods that you hear from guys that are really, really good online. These guys are like super fucking educated.
Yeah,
like they're not idiots at all. Like you can't move into this space and be an idiot and be good at it.
Facts.
So I think low key they see that coming, and the behaviors of the top third of black men is way different than the behaviors of college educated women. And we can talk about that on the live on the YouTube. And I could dive into that. I'm not going to dive into it now because then y'all going to say I'm being misogynistic.
Facts. Out of us two, who's more misogynistic?
Neither one of us are misogynistic. Neither one. But I can say the audience probably sees the pastor as being that.
And you know what's weird? Man, some of my favorite clients, man, they be trying to sneak that in there. Like, especially girls who ain't never paid me. They always, I feel like sometimes it's like, yo, sis, cut the check. I did too much free work for you to be seen as misogynistic. And that might be misogynistic.
I mean, misogynistic is a disdain for women, bro. Like, there's no black men in this country. By and large, right? Like you can find the bottom third of black men. Yeah, you'll find dudes down there that are misogynistic.
Facts.
But black men, by and large, have always been, inclusive of black women in everything that they do. Right? Like it's just, I mean, for civil rights, even when feminism took off, right? And like black studies have damn near just became black female studies, right? Like,
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's not even a black male gender studies program, and black males were the ones that was being lynched. They were the ones that was being murdered by and large during, the enslavement of Africans, right? And black men was even okay with like, if black studies or if Africana studies become, the disenfranchisement of women, we were okay with that. What we didn't expect is for this lens to be, well, black men, you're the oppressor. How am I the oppressor? I'm literally right next to you every day since we've been on this continent.
Bro, my favorite joke was 2 weeks ago when they was killing y'all on Twitter. Men, especially men of color, for calling yourselves feminists. And look, I ain't gonna lie, I was retweeting some of it because y'all right. Because I remember being on the podcast and a dude, he said, I identify as a feminist, and I choked up. Sometimes when people say something so stupid, you choke up and then you look compliant because you just like, I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
It threw me, clutch my pearls. I want to welcome everybody to the Black Dads Club. Shout out to I was about to mix their names, Ryan and Ben. It was so funny. They hit me up Tuesday evening and said, yo, where the hell is the podcast? How are we supposed to work out without the pod? We are late because the weather was bad, so they canceled daycare. And,
schools canceled. So
look, and Mike's son can actually like take care of himself and sit in a room and keep himself busy. My 2-year-old would have been in here knocking over stuff, kicking stuff, and we couldn't do it. I do want to welcome everybody in. Please check out our YouTube, our Twitter. Well, Mike has the Twitter. You could check him out.
I'm at Pastor Mike Will. We don't have a Twitter yet.
We're going to get one.
Twitter is so trash.
It is.
It's a cesspool.
It is.
But
and
a
porn site.
It is definitely a porn
Look,
site.
you might not have Pornhub in North
Pornhub
Carolina.
got canceled in North Carolina.
But you got Twitter.
You still got Twitter. Twitter sucks, though.
One of my favorite Twitter accounts is called Nutivity. And it used to be dope because it used to be photographers that used to post like boudoir and nude photos.
Yeah.
And it was very like artistic for lighting. That's why I was following it. See how I did that?
Of course.
But
So
anyway,
for the lighting.
Bro, now this shit is just fucking. Like, I'm just like, I can't even open my Twitter account up. I had to unfollow it, like real talk, because I'm like, damn, bro, like, I like to be able to go on Twitter and be like, yo, here's some porn sites.
You cannot open Twitter.
Like now, it's just like
you gotta have two Twitters. You gotta have your Twitter for work
and freak Twitter
and your Twitter.
It's called freak Twitter, man. You gotta have it. I got a question.
Woo.
So everybody knows I argue with Mike more off air than on air.
Definitely.
Which I do believe we need to start implementing a segment, and we could decide off mic which one is it. Bring the argument from the group chat to the pod.
Dude, our arguments on group chat are too high level. Not for our audience, right? But like for the shit to trend. Because everybody in this country is just binary, right? Like people want to be told what to do or they don't know what to do. So like most of our arguments, there's shit that I be wanting to talk about that I think is really, really good. Yeah. But we can only talk about it in person because it's people are too quick to create straw man arguments, red herring, and it's like now we're talking about something I'm not even talking about. So I don't know. I mean
we'll pick one.
I think if we did like a YouTube live, you know what I'm saying, we might be able to dive into it a little bit better than like text, but just like cut and paste for the world, bro, without an audience.
It'll be interesting.
It will be terrible.
But one conversation I saw that I did want to bring to you is the conversation of what's the difference between a good woman and the right woman. Because, I look at some of the young boys now who are out there and they come across good chicks, right?
Yeah.
Educated, no kids, not saying that y'all... If you can't get past that, then you please exit.
You're on the wrong pod.
Yeah. So no kids, educated, her name isn't sullied, right?
Yeah.
And they thinking like, yo, gotta marry her right now. And then sometimes you gotta look at them and be like, hey, bro, slow down. That ain't.
I mean,
so what is that difference?
I think men are starved for, good women. It's all the women that's listening right now. We're starved for good men. Well, this is not your pod.
Please
go to your pod.
Go to Eboni.
That. But I definitely think that you can meet a woman and you'd be like, I'm thinking of one right now. Like she was really, really good, right?
Yeah.
She just wasn't for me, right? So she was a good woman, and I could have made it work. But it's just like, I need like that and she ain't really had that right? But she was, I'm talking quality, smart, educated, hard worker, cooks, everything that I like, right?
Yeah.
Like, not saying that whatever you like. So, there's a difference between a good woman and a right woman, because the right woman is going to push you, right? Like, you're going to want to do more because of her, right? Like, man, I got, I do have free time now because, I know my wife has everything at home, right? So my mind is clear, or I am relaxed. My blood pressure is low because, my wife doesn't stress me, right? So the right woman is going to push you into whatever your purpose is, right? Like I've met women and I talk to them 10 or 15 minutes and I'm like, yo, we're not going to vibe because the way I am with the podcast. Like the podcast is sort of like my baby, right? Or it is like my girl right now. So so it's like, yo, you're not gonna vibe with my baby. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, if I tell you I'm real biased towards, you know, black men, right? And if you take that as misogyny, you could be a good woman, right? You can check off every box, but you can't. You're gonna take me out of my purpose.
Facts.
So she's a good woman, but she's not the right woman. So the right woman is gonna keep you in your purpose. The right woman, like bro, your wife listened to pretty much all of our pods, right?
Off air and on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right? Our group text and everything. At no point has she been saying, you need to come away from that, or you need to change your opinion on that, or you need to stop that, right? That's the difference between a woman that's good and a woman that's right. That's a woman that's right for you. And I think most men will date good women, right? But then there's a part of our purpose that she can't align with. She's not the right woman. So that's the biggest difference.
Amazing. So y'all know Mike's birthday was in Christmas. So I have a gift for Mike today, man. Here you go, man.
Is this going to help me not look fat on air?
You get another one coming in because they sent the wrong size.
I'm going to lose weight. Oh, hold on. It says something on the back.
What'd it say, man?
Pastor Mike, we're more than podcasting. Established in 2021.
Look,
hey man, the Pastor Mike moniker, that has to be the greatest thing I've ever done on social media. Because I be wanting to tell y'all, hey, maybe I am a pastor. I think I am a pastor of sorts,
Absolutely.
Right? But I think y'all think I have like a church for real. And it's like,
you do.
My congregation is online.
We get into your congregation a little bit. Please believe.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you so much. This is hard.
Yeah.
And these colors, man, like these rust colors, man. Dude, when I tell you we like nailed this shit when it came to Black Dads, man.
Bruh.
Like, this pod is going to take off.
And let the record show, Mike wanted to have a conversation about changing the name a long time ago. And I said, absolutely fucking not, because we got to get to it. Hold on. I got to check one thing. First of all, before I'll let you do this before I check on this. What was your weekend like? What you been up to?
I didn't do too much, man. I was in actually like a lot of like group things. So black male related. And it was just a funny weekend, man. I didn't realize my brothers was out here struggling the way they struggling. I'm coming, man. I'm gonna get y'all in the congregation. I got to get out here and witness to y'all. I did not know things were as bad as they were when it comes to dating. So I know we just talked about briefly like good woman versus right woman, but I want y'all brothers, man. We're gonna hit the arc, right? You gotta find a woman to adore you, respect you, celebrate you. You gotta hit the arc, bro. Period, point blank. Like that is going to make you happy, and then you gotta take care of that woman. That is a prize to you.
Absolutely.
Both of y'all the prize, right?
Both of y'all.
Don't get upset and be like, yo, if I say I'm the prize, like, sweetie, you the prize too.
You the prize.
You with me. You're prized by proxy. And
Absolutely.
if she's the prize, if she's the prize, I'm prized by proxy. Like if I was married to Oprah or Rihanna, you think I'd care? Like who's paying for the jet fuel?
Absolutely
Would not care.
Wouldn't be me. I'll tell you that.
Like,
how about that
care.
part? I do want to welcome everybody in. Dad tip of the week, and we're gonna make a longer video of this. Stop buying that bullshit they put on Instagram. Look, the hardest thing as a parent, especially as a new parent, is you come in and you start buying anything that's trending and you thinking it's cool. I fell into that trap. And I remember when my boy was born, bro, I bought every bottle I could find.
Man.
Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
Amazon, I would just buy stuff because I don't know what happened. My credit card limit was so high and it was so empty. I just had a ball. And I was buying the dumbass bottles, the bottles that, they won't get gas. Just stick to Dr. Brown bottles. You'll be good. And there's a bunch of other stuff I want to talk about, but please do not get caught up in trends. Also, if you are unsure about buying something, go talk to a parent.
Yeah.
The worst thing is when you at the baby shower and you getting gift from people that don't got kids because they just Google. And, you get caught up in that. So please pay attention. Before we get to the meat of this podcast, because we got a lot, I want to say, Jonathan Majors, I don't know if you helped or hurt yourself, but that was an acting masterclass at work.
He is a great actor, man. He almost played into it too much, like the size, the gestures.
How did she get those scars?
Yeah. But you know what's crazy about Jonathan though is that he studied everything about that Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens interview. He came on there and praised Meg so highly, and then y'all still hate him.
Yo, man, somebody did ask, do he have a thing, like, do he got a race play kink?
No, I think Coretta Scott is just the only black woman
that he knows.
Oh,
okay.
And now Meg, I don't even think. I think Michelle Obama and Coretta is it for. This is what you got to understand. The dude grew up in drama, right? There's not a lot of heroines, especially black heroines, in drama. Especially not black heroines in drama that you'd be like, I want my woman to act like. Yeah. Like if y'all actually want to talk about it and talk about some of the the Eartha Kitts back in the day and the things that was going on in Hollywood. So. What he draws on, I think, when he thinks of black women is Coretta and Michelle. I think those are just the only two black women he knows.
I am here to let Disney know something that they probably didn't know already. Y'all can keep him as king.
Y'all don't really care.
I don't think it's gonna be no boycott, and nobody's gonna really care. He only had parts in 2 movies.
He's a hell of an actor.
He is, and it's one of them things like y'all have invested too much.
And and I'm not gonna lie, like he makes bad stuff, like because I know everybody love Lovecraft Country. I'm gonna be honest, it was meh to me.
Never seen it.
Yeah, so
I ain't never seen it.
But him being in it though, like that. He did such a good job that it did remain interesting. Now, with that being said, I'm not the biggest Jonathan Majors fan because he did that whole masculinity thing is fluid.
He still tried it in this.
Bet you won't walk up on me in the streets. I don't like that. I don't like a tough guy. Like I don't like when people do tough guy stuff on the internet.
I 100% agree with you.
That bothers me. If you got a problem with somebody, man, I think you should say it to them directly. And I think that's an excellent segue.
This is why. The back of his shirt says pastor because the pastor's going to lead the flock where they got to go. Shannon Sharp, congratulations. Hey, before the interview dropped, we text each other and I said, this is going to be good. I can't wait to watch.
Yeah.
You wrote back, I cannot wait to watch as well. I don't think neither one of us thought it would do 40 million in 10 days.
It's at 40 million?
Yeah, bro, that shit is gone.
That is insane.
And
that's like $1 million check.
Bro, Shannon out of here.
Yeah, like, bro.
Skip Bayless, I feel bad for you, bro. But
no wonder why Steven Jackson mad at him.
Yeah. This is the interview that nobody thought they were going to get.
Dude, that's $720,000. Yeah, that one episode.
I believe it. That's why So anyway, Katt Williams came to Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay, and Club Shay Shay. I have to say, I saw behind the scenes. Your videographer is amazing. From one photographer, one creative to another, stuff that nobody on this podcast cares about. Congratulations. I seen the cameras y'all was using. I seen the rigs that y'all had. I saw how the camera was sliding. I know how much that shit costs.
Yeah.
I know that I couldn't do that. You know what? I take that back. I don't need to lie.
Not yet.
But it was amazing to watch. Katt Williams came in and it wasn't an interview. It was a conversation.
Yeah, it was a conversation. It was a comedy special.
It was a stand-up show that like none other. And I have to say this, Shannon, congratulations on keeping your cue cards up, even though they were not needed. Highlights. What are some highlights of that interview? Because we can get straight into it.
So I'm gonna jump right into it. Right, a lot of people was upset and was like, "Yo, yeah, Katt, was making shit up or whatever." Right, and I was like, "Look, Katt gave you a baseline at the very beginning of the episode. Katt told you that he was 52 years old and he runs a 416. All right,
yeah.
The record is 4.2 by a 20-year-old. All right." He told you he read 3,000 books, in a year, right?
Uh-huh.
If it took you 1 hour to read every book and you did that 8 hours a day, it would take you 1 year, 1 week, and 3 days. All right.
It was a lot of.
And he told you he went to school. He got accepted to college at 7 years old, right? That would make him the second youngest person ever, right? All right. So Katt has now given you the baseline of how he's going to tell stories for the
how this comedy special is going to go.
Yeah. So he's giving you the baseline. So when people were getting upset and were just like, why would he say these things, or I shouldn't believe him? Like, Katt is letting you know that I'm going to provide color.
Facts.
Now, what I love, Katt didn't say the potato head motherfucker that hosts the game show. He ain't say, that the little Daryl motherfucker that be wearing dresses that can't act. He didn't say, fat motherfucker that not funny. Right? So you had to guess who he was talking about.
He came in with names.
He came in and said, this is who it is.
This is what they did.
This is what they did. And this is how I feel.
Y'all are surprised that Steve Harvey can talk.
On that, I look, if you're going to pick a fight, call it out right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Facts.
don't, even though a couple, even though the men wives caught strays, I didn't like that.
Oh, we going to get to that part.
I didn't like that.
We get to what we didn't like. Highlights for me. I told y'all, I was live texting.
Yeah.
The truth does not need motivation. I thought that was beautiful.
He had some one line like Katt.
That's a bar.
He about to be memed out.
That is a bar. Your allegiance to losers is so unlike. Boy,
Yeah.
I about fell on the floor when he said that. I told my wife, I said, this nigga rapping.
Yeah.
This was a rap battle.
Yeah.
And he fought everybody. A couple of things that stood out to me, or I was not surprised. A couple of things I wasn't surprised at. Mark Curry has came out and said that Steve Harvey has stole from him before. Steve Harvey has addressed it and addressed those claims. And Steve Harvey let me know on the radio when he addressed it that he stole them.
And so this leads to a bigger question. I don't know if we have this in it.
What's that?
In here anyway today. Like when you are the inspiration for like someone, right?
Okay.
Like what do you owe that person if you're the inspirer or the person who is inspired and takes off, right? Because I mean we see that happen all the time, right? Like there's no Jay-Z without Dame Dash, right?
Facts.
But Jay-Z was able to make himself more attractive to their client at the time, which was Interscope. I think it was Interscope or was that Universal.
Yeah.
So and Lenore Cohen and Geffen and all them dudes was like, yo, I see something in Jay-Z.
We'd pick him over you.
Right. And that paid dividends for Jay-Z.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing when you look at Mark Curry and, Steve Harvey, like, yo, everything is right. Like when they compared the two between Hank and Mr. Cooper and
Bruh. That's something I never put those two together.
I never really put it together. And I'm like, yo, they're absolutely right. But what does Steve owe Mark, right? Like, but when you're behind the scenes, and I'm not a Steve Harvey fan, so I hate that it might seem like I'm defending what he did, right?
Okay.
But when you're behind the scenes and you are easier to get along with than most people, right? And someone that actually has the bag said, you know what? I couldn't work with them, but I can work with you.
It is something to be said for people who do sell their soul and make it. Can you be mad at them?
I think that's a huge question. And what we do it?
Yeah, well, that is a conversation. And people sell their souls for different numbers.
Yeah.
And I think, growing up in the church, they teach you selling your soul as the devil comes to you at night and say, hey, I'll take you to higher heights. And you say, devil, here it is. And as you get older, you understand that analogy isn't as literal. Yeah. But what it is, hey, embarrassing myself for clicks and likes and a check that comes monthly from Meta, I'm willing to do. Or what that looks like is, hey, I'm willing to, if I'm Sexy Red, I'm willing to make a song that just degrades black women every check.
And myself, because I'm having to be in it, and this is forever.
But the flip side of it is my mom no longer lives in the projects. Everybody sell their soul for a different number and different type of things. And whether you think Kevin Hart is a plan or not, Kevin Hart makes some people $1 billion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
and it's tough.
He's super rich now. Like
he's super rich. I think it is that conversation of, damn, that is tough. I looked at it, some of the key things I looked at, going back to that is one of the things that hurt is Steve Harvey being homeless is a big part of his story.
Yes. And
for Katt Williams to paint a story to show us how he was not homeless sounded super believable. And it was tough. But
he got in the bag now, so what I'm saying? And it's like, at this point, it doesn't matter. Like Steve Harvey is like super rich now. Like mega rich.
$100 million.
Yeah, hundreds, of millions of dollars. And then when you look at, Kevin Hart, right?
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes.
And that's a hard place for most comedians to get to.
Yeah.
So, and I think Katt now, I think the last probably 5 years, I don't think he's as broke as people think he is. I think he did make money. He did lose it all. But I think after he got with Suge and he toured, I think he was like that. I'm never gonna be broke again. Type thing. Like on this tour right here, like this dude's easily gonna make 8 figures.
Oh, bruh, the Charlotte show.
Yeah, it got sold out.
Yeah, so they added another one.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing. A couple of things that stood out to me. The conversation about, I think we talked about it off air. The conversation about him and his dad in that segment, to me it it's interesting to hear other black men, and I think all of us do this.
Yeah.
When you have that I'm a man situation with your father, how we all protect or come. We leave a lot of details out.
Well, I think we leave a lot of
story.
details out because, I mean, I think it is respect for, our parents,
Yeah.
for one. And for two, it's one of those things where I think once you become a man, right, and, it's not trauma for you, I think you realize that at the end of the day, like, that's that man's house.
Facts.
I think that's the place where a lot of men get to, right? Like if he came and did that in my house, right, that ain't going down, right?
Facts.
But when I'm in that man's house, like I see where he's coming from. And I think if you don't grow up with the father, I think that's a lesson that you miss, right? You miss that, at the end of the day, that kind of respect I want, I had to pay that homage to my father. And I think the second part is we grew up in a generation. I don't even know if you caught this, but in my generation, probably to like third grade, corporal punishment was something that happened in school.
Yeah, nah, they ain't never do that shit.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so from my generation back, right? So we talking about from the mid '80s.
Yeah.
Back to to whenever, the teachers would have rulers, principals would have paddles. That was something that happened in school. So, Katt Williams is, 10 years or 8 years older than me, right? So, he's growing up in school in the 80s. So when he's saying like, I'm getting my ass beat, right? There's an alliteration, not even an alliteration, right? He said I get my ass beat. That's not an alliteration. But or is it? I don't know. But anyway, what he said is basically it's like, yo, there was an altercation, right? There's something that's occurring, in the home, and he's talking about corporal punishment. And I think it kind of stood out to me because I think Shannon missed that because Shannon grew up with his grandparents versus most of us that grew up in the 70s and 80s as children with two parents in the home or even one parent in the home. We was getting butt cuttings.
Yeah. Shannon was getting his ass whooped. And the only reason why I say that, Shannon got, never mind. I shouldn't say that. I would say this, Shannon grew up very poor.
Yeah.
And he always talks about how his grandparents was like one step away from sharecroppers. And I think South Carolina and Georgia, in some parts of Florida, especially South Carolina and Georgia, we got to remember Georgia ain't Atlanta.
No, Georgia is not Atlanta. And Florida's more the panhandle than Miami.
Absolutely. And a lot of those places, especially we talking about deep rooted in racism, slavery, things of that nature. But yeah, I thought that was super interesting. What issues did you have with the interview?
I didn't like the strays to the wives.
Me either.
And I know y'all probably be like, yo, you misogynist. We really not. We really love y'all to death. But I didn't like that. I thought that he could have left their wives out. But I mean, it's Katt Williams, right? Katt went down there and lit Wanda ass up on the radio station so much so that her husband came up there with a pistol. So Katt is equal opportunity.
He is,
but he should have left the wives out of it. I think the Luda's kind of felt like a stray.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
Saying the call out Luda, I'm like
to say that you and Luda was in front of the Illuminati and they promised y'all $200 million split over 10 movies, but you had to cut your hair and keep your sideburns.
Yeah.
Now Luda, I'm gonna say this, and Mike said that he thought this was cool. I think it's corny. Let me tell you, anybody that's out here, where my camera at? You talk about my wife, I am not dropping a freestyle the next day. I'm saying I'm just leave it at that. Bro, but I thought the wives was I thought it was disgusting. And the only reason why, my dad taught me something, and this is the problem I have with some of y'all. This is the problem I have with encountering some of y'all sons, and you not in their life, because this is what men teach you as you grow up. If you're gonna fight a man, you got to be willing to know that he's willing to take it a step further than you. My dad taught me that as a kid.
Yeah.
So with that, my dad also taught me you got to be understanding that some things men are willing to die for that you are just talking trash about.
Yeah.
I know that's about people's wives. So when you talk junk about people's wives, how they look, how they high yellow, how they face look, what they nose look like.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to understand that some men are willing to catch a body for that.
Yeah. I mean, that,
and it's tough.
Yeah, and you're gonna run across these, folks, possibly at one point in time. And again, I think part of it is Katt Williams is moving into real money, and I think it's making him more of himself. Like I do think the last few years he's been rich, but I think with this current tour in future tours. He you know what I'm saying, he's about to move into that next level. And so I did have an issue with him taking strays at people that I don't think really deserved it. I did not have a problem with Shannon Sharp letting them talk. I know a lot of people. Steven Jackson said, man, we would never let them say, go on about our friend. Yeah,
you would. And y'all got to stop telling us that y'all friends, because we don't believe it. Well, just like when the girls tell us that, we've been divorced for, we've been split up for a long time, and then they get mad when they hang out, with some new chick online, Cardi. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't believe y'all.
Well, so it's one of those things like, okay, if somebody was talking trash about, one of us in our group chat, right?
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, all right, we're not going to play that on air. But like, if somebody was talking about someone that I just know,
yeah,
right, and they were sitting and we was interviewing, they were just like, well, let me tell you about this person. I mean, I'm like, that's not my experience with them. But if you saying this is your experience and we're interviewing, that's your experience. Like, hey, why am I stopping to be like, like, okay, yeah, my brother, my pod mate, my best female and guy friend. Yeah, I might be like, all right, I'm not airing that, right? Yeah. Even if it's true, right? And I tell y'all when I'm biased, but if it's somebody that I just know of.
Oh yeah.
Like let him get it off. I think Shannon was perfectly okay by letting him talk. If Shannon is not a trained journalist. He could not have asked better questions than just letting Katt Williams roll.
Oh, facts. And you get the numbers that you got.
Yeah, exactly.
And we got to live with that.
Crazy.
Tiffany Haddish, you're not funny.
She is not funny.
Your follow-up jokes were not funny.
I almost think that like Tiffany Haddish makes me think that her and Kevin Hart might be plants for real.
Yeah, she does. Like, I don't believe Kevin Hart is a plant, even though Katt Williams made a great, and he's more educated in this field. He made a great story for us to follow.
Yeah.
But Tiffany Haddish makes me believe that Katt Williams is telling the truth on that. And also, I will say this. I think it's disgusting what Steve Harvey is doing, even though it's smart. When your co-host was pillow talking with her man on the jail phone, y'all did a whole press run the next day. She got on there almost in tears apologizing.
Damn,
and you gave a whole statement.
Ooh.
For Katt Williams to get up here and say, hey, you was wearing the man unit, which I already knew but was funny. Hey, you stole from fellow comedians. Hey, you was never homeless, even though that's a crook of your story. He said that you told us your last wife was the one, left her and got with a woman who thinks like a man, and then she wrote a book for you and got out here. Bro, for you to sit up there on the radio, because I was tuned in. I am not a fan of Steve Harvey, but I listen to Steve Harvey because I think his show is good. And it's a whole different perspective on everything. And like Mike said last week, sometimes you got to listen to people that you don't necessarily agree with. But for you to be silent, and to you, Melissa Ford did this on Joe Budden's podcast, and Steve Harvey did it too. For y'all to be so disengaged the next day was funny. And then for you to sit up there and let your co-host just fake laugh at all these non-dry ass jokes was disgusting. But yeah, and I know you're going to address it when the time right, when nobody's thinking about it, and you know that it's just going.
Yeah, 5 years from now when he's at the pond on his ranch,
absolutely,
he'll make something that we
care about. Yeah. Absolutely. Was DJ Academics right or wrong?
What did we call it earlier? We had a word for it.
What, dry snitching? No,
not dry snitching. When you hollering at somebody else's girl.
Dirty macking.
Dirty macking. Yes.
So the word is Danny Green slid into DJ Academics. And I stole that from Joe Budden, by the way. Apparently, Danny Green,
be a New York dude that would understand dirty macking.
Absolutely. And I thought it was just genius because I'm like, oh, this is so true. That is exactly what it is. It's player hating, what we call it down here.
Yeah, we call it player hating. But yeah, dirty macking is actually way better.
Absolutely. Danny Green slid into DJ Academics' girlfriend's DMs. And DJ Academics, who was so beside himself, decided to DM Danny Green's wife at the time and say, hey, your man is DMing my man. Get at me. And she said no. And he said, well, if you think I'm lying, go check his DMs because I have it on my end.
And he sent screenshots. Absolutely. You know he sent her like, I'm showing you these screenshots.
Absolutely. But was he right or wrong?
He should have talked to his woman and Danny Green. Like, leave that woman alone, man.
You can't holler at my girl and think I'm gonna let that shit fly.
You gonna go holler at his girl? Like, because here's the thing: when you holler at his girl and you can't get his girl, and he actually can get your girl, where does that leave you?
Over here with my dick in my hand.
Exactly. It's like it was a waste. Like, yo, he should have like hit his girl up, and be like, yo, what the fuck? and then reach out to Danny Green and be like, yo, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, but you know what's so sad? You know what's nasty about all this? Not only was you dirty macking back then, you still dirty macking. Why are you bringing this up?
Yeah,
you telling us something we don't know.
Man, did he just get demonetized on Spotify?
I don't know. Did he?
I don't know. I think Spotify was kicking him off. Like he needs to calm down, man. And here's the thing: he's too rich.
He sold his soul, bro.
He's too rich to be acting the way he's acting. But you know what they always say about money? Money makes you more of yourself.
Who you are.
So can't wait to see who I am next year.
Absolutely, because I can tell y'all already who I will be. I'm going to have a Katt Williams moment. Oh, I didn't even get to bring up, don't mean to go back to Katt, but I think it is this conversation of gatekeeping. I've said it on air, at least in my universe, in my world, photography in this creative space, gatekeeping is interesting. I did think it was interesting. He said that Kevin Hart and Tyler Perry were gatekeepers. And you know what? I do believe that people should go Google and look up the definition of gatekeeping, because I think it'll make y'all realize that gatekeeping is a real thing. And I say it like this. In my world, let's talk about photography right quick, and it'll be quick. There's a certain amount of doors that black people have access to.
Yeah.
Those black people let the black people who come and kiss their ass and who pay them go through that door. And, it was interesting. I think nobody would look at Kevin Hart or Tyler Perry and say, hey, they don't put black people on. But as we see,
if they don't like you,
you never walk through them same doors.
They're not going to walk you through those doors. And I get what you're saying about gatekeeping. I guess that my whole thing is, like, as African Americans, most of the time we're going through the door of that African American is open for us.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is like, once we're good enough, it's always somebody richer than the African American that's gatekeeping.
Oh yeah.
And I wish we would learn that. So when I'm like, you ain't got to worry about that. Like, okay, Tyler Perry is powerful, but if you're good enough to be on Tyler Perry and he's blocking you, bro, all you got to do is just go behind him. There's I think we get away from, the 48 laws of power, right? And the art of war, right? Like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, Tyler Perry don't like me. Who hates Tyler Perry?
Yeah.
Let me go over here and talk to that person. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, our thinking has become so binary that it's like either stop or go. No or yes, right? And that's not how we work as humans. Humans are all in the middle, right? Our no's are never really no's. Our yeses are never really yeses. We operate for the most part within the middle, right? Yeah. Like, we'll say, you gonna come out? Yeah, I want to come out, right? And then sometimes we don't, right?
Yeah.
And we have every intention to come out sometimes. And sometimes we say, we have no intentions to. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this idea that as humans, we got to have this binary thinking. Right, we don't have to. Like, we can actually look at a situation and say, well, shit, I'll try 60% in this direction. If it don't work, then I'm gonna go back 70% in another direction and keep doing it until we shake it up. So I get the gatekeeping. I just hate that sometimes I think we empower people way too much. Right, like Tyler Perry, great guy. Byron Allen, great guy. Robert Smith, great guy. They don't have that doesn't have to be it, right? Yeah, Gavin can be the next great guy. But who Gavin has to meet, right? Like, that's the question we got to ask.
And, at least in our world, sometimes those folks who are in charge, sometimes they'll go to those powerful black people and say, hey, what do you think about them?
Yeah.
And then sometimes your name, you got to hope they give you a good name. I look at it in Charlotte right now, as far as, like, if I want to get a gallery in Charlotte, it's not as easy as me going to the Mint Museum. It's not as easy as me going to Bachelor or whoever and say, the Nice Theater, and say, hey, can you put my artwork up? Sometimes they're going to go speak to the only black people who they trust and be like, hey, what you think? And I'm here to tell you, sometimes those black people will shit on your names. Nonetheless, I love this. Is one of my favorite segments of the pod. Hold on. We got to do it correctly. All right. I want to welcome y'all in to one of the best churches that you have ever been in.
Hey, pass that plate around.
Hold on, let's pass it. I am welcoming you.
$$ Black Dads Club, Cash App.
Please send it over. Pastor Mike is coming to the front. Do you wear robes when you go to the front of the congregation?
Yeah,
are you gonna wear the pastoral robe?
I wear a robe.
All right, cool.
I can't wear a robe. I am definitely a big guy.
Mike is definitely the pastor who's going to wear a sweater and like roll his sleeves up with jeans on.
Yeah.
But you got to speak for your congregation and what the hell is going on out here. Starting off, I'm reading the announcements. The announcements go. Lil Nas X is out here with a song, and he's dedicating it to Christianity. What are your thoughts on it? Go.
Lil Nas X is a troll. He is a troll, and you could never get this off of any other religion. Like you guys need to appreciate that about Christianity.
Yeah.
That Christianity allows you to sit here and make fun of their religion. But yeah, he would not try this in Islam. He would not try this go to Japan and see if you can disrespect their ancestors.
Oh, facts.
Yeah. See how that works out for you. So he's a troll. I'm over Lil Nas X.
Yeah, and that's what I thought about it. I said, dang, Christianity is such
I don't
low-hanging
like
fruit.
the shock jock thing that
he's been that. That's
I know
my problem with
he's
him.
been that. But like, and here's the thing: when I say I don't like it, right? I'm not talking about I don't like it because it's Lil Nas X. I didn't like when Howard Stern did it.
Oh, facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I always felt that like being a shock jock, it was a cheat code to be popular.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like you could be a bigot and be popular. Like shit, Don Imus made a whole career out of it. It wasn't until we thought calling black women out of their names was offensive that he was kicked off the air. Like he wasn't kicked off the air because he called black people. He had done that his whole career.
Absolutely.
It finally became offensive.
Yeah.
And he had said it. So like you can be whoever you want to be. And again, I don't have to agree with you, but when you just shock jock your way to the top, it's cheap. I don't like it.
Next thing on the congregation on the announcements, a pastor, a woman came into church. She cussed his ass out. She ran up. She told the pastor. She told the congregation she is pregnant by this pastor. Please address this situation to the congregation.
So the rumor has it she lived with him. I live with the couple.
I don't know, Pastor. I'm just reading the announcements.
Okay.
Seem like you know too much about this.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, here's the thing. If she lives with me and then she comes in and tell the congregation, I mean, like, yo, it's messy. These pastors are messy. Majority of pastors
Are horny
and lame and messy. I don't understand. I do not understand cheating and not wearing a condom. I really don't understand that. I really don't understand that. That actually blows me. Like cheating and not wearing a condom. I don't really get. It's too much that could go wrong.
Yeah. My favorite part is if you click on if you go on Reddit, it's a lot of dudes who like to go down on escorts. I don't understand that either.
I don't understand that either. Escorts are cool.
Yeah, but please don't go down there.
Don't go down.
Please don't. That is just never mind. Shout out to all the sex workers. Sex work is real work. Last thing, Pastor, I was watching a doc. It's called Love Wins, something like that. It was a doc about a group of white folks in the middle of just Vermont, I believe.
Shit, that's the whole state of Vermont.
Facts.
I don't think there's any black people in
One time I went to New Hampshire for a wedding. I saw no black people.
I don't think there's any.
Never saw Trump sign so big. I will say this. They believe they were doing a bunch of psychedelics, a bunch of drugs. And how do you feel about random black folks being in white coats?
Dude, those are always the black folks that are weird anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever you see like anytime you see like a black person that's in a cult, especially if it's like I feel bad for them because you know they didn't have any black friends growing up.
Facts. I told Mike this off air.
2% of blacks in New Hampshire 2% of New Hampshire people are black. That is insanely low.
That is crazy.
I think we in metropolitan areas we think that the rest of the country is like
people think
mixed.
Georgia is Atlanta.
Yeah, and it's like in the rest of the country they really are not any black people around.
No. I was watching this doc and I told my wife we was watching it and it was a black girl. They did a group hug. Nobody had on shoes. Everybody hair was greasy. Everybody was wearing rags and it was a black girl there, natural hair, and she was hugging them, smiling too hard. And I said, oh my goodness, Netflix is going to ask this woman the question. Excuse me, HBO, they who did the doc. And I said, they're going to ask her. And then she didn't make it past half the episode. Don't know. She probably called her parents and they said, get your black ass.
Yeah, they probably got her out of the cult. We will reach out to our weird cousin and be like, yo, girl, get your ass home.
Get your ass home. And there was a guy, he looked biracial. But when it's time to shoot people, the police is gonna think he's black. But they never. I'm tired of these cult docs not asking even the white folks, but especially when there's one black person or somebody of color.
You gotta ask the weird of color person what's going on.
Do you think it was weird that it was no other people that looked like you?
They probably did interview him, but per usual, black people are probably going to say something that they don't want to be said, and then they like, we're just gonna leave this on the floor, the cutting room floor.
Netflix, Hulu, HBO. I promise you, the black community wants you to sit down and ask the people in these cults. Hey, you said this person is God. You said this person is your leader. You said this person. Did you ask them why it's only white people here? You should ask the person of color there. Hey, did you find it strange there was no other black people here?
Dude, but I mean, good luck getting the answer out of
Facts.
The septum ring, waist speed, lock crowd that only hangs out with white people. Like they're not going to find it weird.
It's a struggle there. I know you went back to work, sir. And you saw Shannon there with the biggest grin. Shannon said he brushes his teeth 10 times a day. I believe it. Because them shits is pearly white. I love the poor black people. Once they get money, they go fix their teeth. I am definitely doing that as soon as we get there.
Oh, yeah. Definitely going to get that super whitening.
And I know you went to work. You sat down with him. And
I'm getting the hair back in Turkey.
You elbowed Shannon. And Shannon said, hey, man, it's only been 3 days. We had 12 million. Then Shannon came back to work and said, hey, it's only been, 7 days now. We had 23 million. And it's only the 10th day and we had 40. So I can imagine yesterday, he nudged you and said, hey, I think I'm going to crack 40. In the first 2 weeks of this dropping, I think I'm going to crack 40. And I know Shannon, what's my man? Stephen said, I got to do it. And he thought about who he needs to address. And Jason Whitlock is on some random griot type network that's not getting no views and said, hey, who's going to be the dummy that falls for it?
He's actually on The Blaze, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they on?
The far right bigot network.
Nobody watching that shit. And he got one. Jason Whitlock, I am here to congratulate you because you got him. You fucking got him. And here we go. I got to play this part from Stephen A. If you don't know, they are beefing right now. Stephen A. is trying to get his YouTube. I appreciate Stephen A. for letting us know, hey, this is a Telegraph thing. Stephen A. has come on and say, hey, I am trying to get my own YouTube, get my own channel. I'm doing everything. I'm paying for everything because my goal is a big network coming to me and say, hey, we want to purchase the Stephen A. show from you. And they're going to pay me for the whole thing. Kind of like what Joe Rogan did. You know what I'm saying? I built this up, and guess what? Spotify say, hey, we're going to give you $100 million for it. I think that is the goal for Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp. Pat got it done finally. You know what I'm saying? So,
Pat who?
McAfee, ESPN.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Pat McAfee.
So Stephen A. Smith did a hour-long interview, and he actually addressed Pat McAfee, and we get to sports in a little bit. He got on there and talked about that for 12 minutes. But when he got done, it was some highlights of this podcast because he had a ball. And here we go. This is one of my favorite. It's a little lengthy, but stick with me, please.
Because that's what he does. You see, what he does is he's the one that puts himself in front of white folks. The white folks, not all white folks, not most white folks, but the white folks that dare we say may have a problem with black folks.
Yeah, you better clean
that up. He
says,
better.
I'm your man. That's what he does.
So he called him a shuck in the jobber.
You think I'm lying? Ask ESPN. Ask Fox. Ask the Kansas City Star.
All right, we ain't got to go through that. Hold on, we got one more part.
Now he really putting them on blast.
Anything
absolutely
worse than a white supremacist.
Okay.
That is until Jason Whitlock came along. He's worse than them. He is the worst, most despicable, lying, no good, fat ass human being I have ever known in my life.
What's up with the brothers in these pod wars?
Pod wars have returned. How do you feel about people saying that Stephen A is complaining about Jason Whitlock when some of the same things have been said about him?
Well, I mean, I admit I actually shared the tweet this morning with 2 raccoons fighting. So that came from me.
All righty then.
So and one of the problems I think Stephen A has is the same problem that Jason Whitlock has, authenticity. I think that becomes a problem. So you can tote water, right, and you'll get promoted and get paid for that. But if you want to get paid off of authenticity, I don't think neither one of them have it. With that being said, I'm more on Stephen A side than Jason Whitlock. Because I think this just actually kicked off because Stephen A had wrote an autobiography, and Jason Whitlock said that he didn't write it. Now, the backstory is on these 2 guys, they both started off as writers. So they're both, actually both started in Carolina. Stephen A. Smith went to Winston-Salem State.
Shout out.
And Jason Whitlock actually started writing for the Charlotte Observer before he went to the Kansas City Star. So both of these guys are writers. So for a writer to accuse another writer of not writing is a big deal.
And Stephen A, I will say, he even said in this whole thing that Jason Whitlock was a great writer.
Yeah. Like that. So it's more personal than just the 2 of them, having a little pod war tiff. But everything he said about Jason Whitlock is accurate. No issues there. No issues there.
I thought it'd be disgusting for us. I wanted to start with this.
Yeah.
Because I'm here to tell y'all, Joe Budden will discuss this on Saturday. All right. I'm telling y'all what he might even start with this.
Yeah. But how do we feel about black men,
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I have a conversation, and I think it's something. I told Baraka, you got to listen in for my take. So this is for Baraka. I want to know, are black men responsible for Jason Whitlock? And I'm going to tell you why. When Jason Whitlock had Kid from Kid and Play, House Party, shucking and jiving up there, and when Jason Whitlock was killing Colin Kaepernick, where was Shannon Sharp? He was silent on Undisputed. Very silent, because I was waiting. Where was Chris Broussard? Silent, super silent. Where was Marcellus?
Well, we know where Marcellus was. We ain't got to ask that question.
Where was Ryan Clark? Where was Stephen A. Smith when Colin Kaepernick was getting clamped? So I say that.
Stephen A. Smith, we know the side that he's going to be on.
And where were y'all at? And I'll give you an example. And Unc, I hate to do it to you, but it's real because I pay attention to so many of y'all who I would love for our podcast to be mentioned with y'all, right? Skip and Shannon went on Hot Ones, and there was a conversation where they asked Shannon who was his number one analyst that he dislikes.
Yeah.
I said, boy, we got him. You got to do it.
Yeah.
Because it was answer this question or eat a hot wing.
Yeah.
You could have ate that hot wing if you didn't want to answer. And I would have automatically knew you was talking about Jason Whitlock because y'all on the same network.
Yeah.
He sat up there and mentioned, what was the white guy from who was on First Take, who Stephen A. Smith was going back and forth.
Oh, Max Kellerman?
No. The other white guy.
Oh,
Dallas Cowboy guy. Your name ain't even worth mentioning because of who you are and how you act. But he mentioned him. And I thought that was like weird.
Yeah.
That you went for him. When Jason Whitlock was kicking,
right there,
was kicking everybody back in.
Yeah, he's right there.
Jason Whitlock went years of kicking black men's back in, and other black commentators just sat there and was like silent. Mum is the word. So I do want to know, are we responsible? Are they responsible? Because now, hey, Jason Whitlock ain't on no major network no more.
What? And
I believe, like Stephen A. said, nobody wants to work with him.
Well, I believe it goes back to, to your earlier point, right? Like gatekeeping, right? So, a lot of these guys can't really start fights because, like for instance, we're in the pod space. We're becoming larger. I find Ryan Clark to be a little, throw a rock, hide his hand sometime when he's interviewing, right? Mm-hmm. But can I go in on Ryan Clark when I'm literally moving into the space that I'm probably going to be right adjacent to Ryan Clark?
I feel you.
Right. So I think a lot of times that's the truth, right? That's the unsaid part that nobody wants to say, right? I can't really do the pod wars because hell, everybody that I could talk about, do I want to take the 50 Cent route, right? When 50 Cent came on the scene, he produced the song. I don't know if y'all remember this at all. How to Rob.
Yeah.
Right.
I was in high school. Yeah. I remember that.
And he did it 2 years in a row. He dropped it around Christmas time. 2 years in a row. First time, everybody knew who he was, but it was nothing for the following year. And then he did another one the following Christmas. I think he mentioned Jay-Z in that one. I can't really remember.
Okay.
But like that's the one that got him traction. That's the one that got him signed. So I think most individuals are apprehensive to take that route.
Okay. Facts.
So I think when it comes to like Stephen A and all those guys, like, I wanted them to stand up for Colin Kaepernick. A 49er fan, was a Kaepernick fan.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the right thing to do. And they were all mum. And so you mentioned some names I done completely forgot about.
Oh, bruh. I remember watching that and I'm like, yo, I'm confused on how y'all letting this man. And like, yo, it's just, I wonder, are we responsible? But
to that question, I think we are. I think what you just did was important, right? Because I think that sometimes we need to explain to the audience, right, to other black men, this is why I couldn't say something.
Facts.
Right? Because that pulls back a layer of what's going on. Instead of us just understanding this hypocrisy, I appreciate if, Ryan Clark was just like, bruh, look, my mortgage was here. My wife wasn't working.
Yeah.
They were paying me $2.5 million a year. If I would have said something, I would have, because now we can start having the conversation of, are you being a man because you're protecting your livelihood for your family, or are you being less of a man because you won't tackle an issue that's important? I think we look back in like the civil rights era and all these places, and we think that everybody showed up, right? Because we got freedoms now. Most of the time, nobody showed up, right? Like most of the time, it was just a small subset of individuals that fought hard, and then everybody got the benefit from it. To all the names that you called out, I think bigger pods are responsible for calling them out, right? I don't think it's smaller pods or smaller media companies or smaller media people's role, because those people are still trying to get to it.
Yeah.
They're still trying to get, and we got to let people earn a living. Like, we're the only people that, when we get mad at each other, to your point, we gatekeep, right?
Yeah.
When they get mad at each other, the moment they see they can make money, they be like, yo, bygones or bygones. Like, we gonna make this money together.
Absolutely. And I mean, it was just an interesting thing to hear. Stephen A. Smith, he apologized to a lot of people. He apologized to Skip. You know what I'm saying? I just thought it was super interesting because I'm like, damn, do y'all share some responsibility? And I would love for somebody to talk to them and sit them down and say, hey, do y'all feel partly responsible for this man? And you know what? And I will give them this. We've always said it. When black men distance themselves from a certain black man, that is their way of letting you know that, hey, we don't rock with that person.
We all been distanced ourselves for Jason Whitlock. But I'm glad that Stephen A. called him out. I want to see how this shakes out with ESPN over the next week or so.
Facts.
But that's why I ain't got too much opinion on that. But I don't think he was wrong for what he's saying, but I definitely want to see how it shakes out.
Absolutely. Speaking of sports, let's go ahead and hop into it. Playoffs are here. You ready? Y'all ready?
Man, I don't know if we're ready for them Ravens, but we'll see them in the Super Bowl.
Playoffs is interesting.
Knock on wood for that shit.
Absolutely,
good Lord.
man. Playoffs is definitely going to be interesting. Do you think Lamar wins MVP?
He should.
He should.
He should.
Who is it between him and Christian?
I would say between him and McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I mean, you could put Tariq Hill in there, but Tariq really didn't do nothing after his injury. So
he had kids,
and that's what I'm saying. God, this nigga definitely has kids.
He definitely had kids. What you think about all these coaches quitting,
dude? You know what? I wonder what's happening, right? Like, what's making all these dudes, Saban, Belichick, like, because these guys know each other.
Facts.
So they're like literally know each other, like how me and you know each other. So I'm wondering like what's going on behind the scenes that's making a lot of these guys retire out. Like, are they about to bail for? If they leave the country, I'm heading out with them too. There's too many dudes quitting their jobs.
Absolutely, what they know that we don't know.
Exactly.
Nia Long, congratulations to my top 5. Nia Long is now collecting $32,000 in child support. This was an argument in our group chat.
Yeah, it was.
What's your thoughts on it?
I have told y'all I am not anti-child support. I think that, men should help, out taking care of the kids. But I think in this situation, unless she needed his income, I was like, what's the point? Like, I mean, because she is an actor, maybe she's not acting, and she need, child support shows up with income on your taxes. So maybe to buy like a house or mortgage rent, maybe she needed to show up his income. I don't see it. He took care of his kid for 12 years, right? So I didn't understand this whole thing of putting him on official child support. But again, I did concede. Perhaps she needed this income. She did drop it from what, 50? How much she could have got?
She could have got like 20 grand more.
Yeah, so she did drop it to 32. So I do think she still like him. So I mean, it is what it is, man.
Go ahead and double back.
32K is nothing for Emi, but I don't think there's anybody who needs $32,000 a month of child support.
I do agree with that. For me, I think, like I said in the group, I'm like, yo, this is like 6% of his monthly salary.
Yeah.
And for me, I pay more than that with my kids. So, yo, bro, you got to pay up too.
Yeah. But I don't think any woman, like, if you're not with the person that is wealthy, you don't get that lifestyle.
You don't.
This entitlement that we have in this country to other people's money.
I'm with you.
It's insane. Like, yo, if you're not with me, you go back to the lifestyle you had before you was with me.
That goes for you too, Stevie J.
That goes for everybody.
You have broken up with Faith Evans. You do not get this check anymore.
You got to get to work. I'm sorry. You can't.
And he works. Faith Evans don't. So that was the other weird part.
Yeah.
Draymond Green said he wanted to retire because he couldn't beat y'all ass. That is the craziest shit I've ever heard.
Draymond.
He said, yo, I wanted to retire because they were going to make me it was too much for me.
Stay in your kid's life. That's all I'm going to say. As a dad, stay in your kid's life, because Draymond sits here and talk all this shit, but if you go and look up Draymond Ron Artest clip, he knows who to buff up at and who to not buff up at. He buff up at the dude that run up in the stands to wail on fans.
I knew Ron Artest was crazy when he said one time he was on a basketball court and he seen a dude get cut in the neck by a bottle for a foul and they kept playing.
Yeah,
that to me let me know that nigga is not all the way there.
So Draymond plays the role of the bully, right? Like I'm 6'6", I'm 240 pounds, I'm bigger than most of the people that I'm picking on. So he's able to do all this foolish stuff. And if Draymond walked here right now, he'd be a super huge human, right?
Absolutely.
So he could attempt to bully me.
Mike ain't going for it. Just don't knock over the cameras.
I won't waste that much time. But he's still a bigger human than me, right? I have to respect it. Yeah. I definitely not want to fight him. So, but if I had to, we can go. We can go. But my point being, it's easy to do that when you're a superhuman and other people are not. When he had an opportunity to go up mano a mano, he chose not to. Just talking again. I hate all this talking on the internet. I don't like it. Like you're never going to get me upset on the internet, right? Men should meet each other in parking lots and have those conversations, right?
I am here to tell you, DraftKings, Prize Picks. I personally use Prize Picks over Underdog. But whatever Stephen Curry's number is, pick the over from here on out. His wife is back and she's talking.
What Aisha talking about? I saw the clip of the feet pics.
She said that she said that he loves her feet. And whenever he asks for news, he wants feet pics. And then when some dude brung out something on the show, she act like she was taking her ring off. I like Aisha, man. She reminds me of the church girl who never got out, who's trying to figure out her way of like being cool.
Yeah, it's too late in your 30s. Let me tell you, man. If you have not hit cool by the time you hit your 30s, you are going to look corny. You're going to look corny trying to do it in your 30s.
Be you. So,
do you like feet pics?
No, but I like my girl feet.
Okay, that's reasonable. I do not like if I ask for news, do not send me a goddamn foot pic.
Facts. I don't ask
or feet pic.
I don't ask for news, just because I don't know. That shit don't do it for me. I've never asked for news. Now I will say this:
not even a video.
Can I? Come on, man.
A video is that's still a nude. Like when I say send a nude, I'm talking about a video.
Oh
yeah, I don't want a titty pic. I am in my 40s. That's gonna do nothing for me.
Nothing for me because, like I said, I can go on Nutivity.
But if you send me a video though,
please send me. Me and my girl used to go on Twitter and send each other videos like that we used to see randomly. Mm-hmm. Me and my girl have a photo album that we've had since 2011, and it's a lot of random ass in there. None of it's my wife. And I remember one time this girl at work was like, "Oh, do you and your girl have a little group chat, like a little photo album?" I'm like, "Yeah, I like to share an album." This was me and Karina. We was not dating. We weren't even dating. We were just cool. And man, they did a scroll too many times. They said, "What the hell are y'all sending each other?" I'm like, "Yo, this is funny to us. It's ass in there." And neither one of us is ass people. But anyway, that's too much of y'all. Got to keep it spicy. But yeah, Aisha got to shut up. But this is what she do. And the Warriors go and they either win championships, they go on a run. So I get it. Aisha just do this all the time. To me, it's corny, but Aisha's corny.
Big ups to the dudes who get off on feet, man. Like that's the
whole thing on Reddit. Don't ask me how I know.
That's a blessing because I can't. It does nothing for me. But
I know
if that's a small thing.
Yeah, I know a girl right now on Twitter. If y'all need her tweets, shout out to her. I took pictures of her and I follow her, and it's a little bit too much. I have to like scroll past her shit too much. I just follow her because she's supporting me with money. I supported her with photography, but that's her thing, dog. And she the one who let me know that Steph Curry, she the one let me put me on the story.
Oh, okay.
Because she kept posting, yo, I wonder if Steph like these. She said the play-in is coming to the city. Now y'all know what city she in. You need her information. She travels, but she's in Vegas. Shout out to her, man. I don't know how much she charged because she don't know me. Anyway,
real work.
I did see sex work is real work, man. Shout out to them. Jameis, Shannon. I seen a lot of people not happy with Shannon saying that he would cut Jameis today. And I will tell you this: a lot of fellas have been very adamant on black men should not campaign for other black men to lose their jobs. And I'm with that wave.
Yeah. I told y'all, when y'all fuck up, I am gonna look at that shit the same way ESPN looked at Dana White smacking his wife. That's how I'm gonna look at it. Like, yeah, it happened, probably terrible, but it evidently had nothing to do with ESPN. So when y'all fuck up, that shit has nothing to do with me, man. No, I'm with it. No, black men, yeah, we gotta big each other up, man, because everybody else, it just gets to take whatever shot they want.
But was Jameis right or wrong in that situation?
Dude, I don't even think Jameis thought that shit through, bro.
Clearly. He thought it through because there was a play.
I think he thought in the moment and he went for it. But I mean, I'm not mad at that, bro. It's a fucking football game. Stop him. It
is sports.
Stop him.
Yeah.
Stop him.
I guess it's just like hey, we surrendered. All right, we lining up like we know.
And I don't even know why Shannon even thought that was important enough to even talk about.
I don't know. Maybe
Sean Payton is right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's right there. Like, to go off on James, like, shit, off the white is right there, right? Like, he had people that he could talk shit on, and he took it out on James. Sometimes back to what Stephen A, the two raccoons fighting.
Come on, man. Stephen A was gonna come on the pod. Now he ain't.
He can still come on the pod, man, because we definitely gonna talk about how he apologized for Shohei Ohtani and how he didn't apologize for the Nigerian basketball team. I'm gonna hold that against him until I do see him. Why do you think that's okay?
And you made Shannon repeat twice that Jameis should lose his job.
Yeah. So it's anyway. Like, no, I mean, again, I have no problems telling folks, anything that I say behind your back, I'll tell it to your face because I would never denigrate anybody. I don't feel the need to ever make somebody less than or make somebody feel less than. So if I say something, I'm actually either being descriptive or I'm asking a question. That's it.
Facts. I have this segment that I want to talk about before we get out of here. And it's this conversation I've been watching online, and it's like, why do men, especially men of this generation, modern men, fail at dating?
We're gonna have to take this into the next pod because it's actually too much to talk about today.
Right now. Okay,
right? Because I was in several live spaces this weekend.
Okay,
and the conversation was based around why women prefer dating pookies than good, or solid bros.
Okay.
And the bros that was asking these questions were actually like, these are successful bros. Like, I'm not talking about like incels, like, dudes that like work at McDonald's or some shit. Not like flipping burgers, not district managers because they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But like, these were like regular freaking bros that are like engineers, mechanical engineers, coders, right?
Yeah.
And they, and I respect them because they're standing up to saying like, hey, we're no longer going to accept raising Pookie's child.
Facts.
Right? I respect that, right?
Enough.
But the problem was these dudes actually don't talk to women at all. They actually do not have an ideal of how to talk to women. So there was an article on Medium, right, which was actually on the white side of the internet, right? And then I go into these spaces over the weekend, and like I'm gonna read something that one of the brothers said in like the group chat that I'm in. He was like, in my opinion, you guys did good, but you shouldn't have allowed men that are actually incels to speak. Now, this is all black men in this group. Also, you could have diverted the conversation away from sex and women since that's his field. His is the pookie. All right. I'm impressed with the courage shown, and so am I. Like, bruh, when I tell you that those bruhs who are actually not getting laid, when I tell you that they were like holding court, with the Pookie, and the only thing that the Pookie was saying is like, y'all don't get bitches. like literally, that's all he was saying over and over again. Like, I'm gonna let y'all hear like how crazy this live stream was.
Intellectual, bro. Since 2 days ago, this nigga has not stopped tweeting every 6 minutes.
Bro, let's not be emotional, bro. Listen, bro.
What's wrong with you niggas?
Why are you being so emotional? Wait. Why are you being so emotionally charged right now? Hold on.
That sounds a mess.
Dude, when I tell you, and it was a mess, right? But here's the thing. There's the Pookie, right? He's by himself. There's 6 guys that are college educated, that are engineers. They cannot rein him in. Right? So no one really understands like how to have the question of, what's going on, when it comes to women. And one of the things that I realize is that men are not used to being rejected anymore. Right? So, and I was talking to one of my boys and I was like, yo, we were just talking. We were just like, how when we was in college and, like what it was like, like, man, you had to shoot your shot and like shit. Sometimes you guys get shot down.
Facts.
And we was like, yo, these guys aren't really experiencing that because, if you meet on a dating app, right, it's already an interested woman. You don't see all the women that swipe left on you. Right? You just see the women. Yeah, you just see the women that swipe right on you. If you're gaming, in these gaming communities, you have a mutual interest, but you haven't really had a conversation in person. So it was like, yo, so when these guys do get out here in the real world, like, do they even understand how to hold a conversation?
No, they don't know how to talk.
Do they understand like the ideal of being interested and interesting? And like I said, we went back and forth in the group chat. And I was just like, yo, fellas, there's no way that we can say we're pro-black and we want to save the black community if the only thing we're going to do is, save yourself black man to extinction, right? And y'all know I came in here last week because I was pissed off how y'all went off at Simone. I'm not really save yourself black man because I still believe that you have to. There's no way to have progenies if you don't get married, right? Out of wedlock babies is the destruction of the community, right? So if you want children, it has to be in marriage, right? So you, as a man, you're going to have to marry a woman and y'all will have to have kids and raise those children together. And that's why I'm like, yo, we're going to have to go into this way deeper next week. Okay. Because it's too much to go into. Like even the article when I was just reading it, and they were just saying like the things that men are bad at now. And I was reading it, and I was like, some of the shit ain't wrong. Like 45% of college educated women can't find a man to meet their expectations. And y'all know I always shoot y'all bell, and I always tell y'all like, most of the time this is financial, and I'm like, yeah, fuck that shit, right? Like the whole point of equality was there's going to be women that make more money than me. Right? So the financial shit's going to fall on you if you want equity, equality, and inclusion. Okay. So if you make more money and you're like, nah, I'm not paying this, I still want you to take me out. Well, I already know that you're a fake feminist. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want equity, equality, and inclusion. What you want is for me to pay for everything and you pay for nothing. That's what is that? Indentured. Okay.
Oh shit.
All right. Men are not intellectually keeping up. Was the first complaint. I can see that. Men have lost the art of conversation.
Oh, I know that.
That too is the problem. Let's see here. Men only want casual sex. Now I call bullshit on this because I hate when women sit around and pretend that they're not the ones that keep Adam and Eve in business. It is not us. We're not keeping romance novels and sex toy companies in business. Well, we're doing it in the sense of we're spending our money to get you y'all shit. Yeah. But look, it's not like that's bullshit. Men don't put in any effort, and this is the point that I really want to dwell in on because it's like the clip in one of the Charlotte groups where the young lady was. What did she say? She was like, I went out to the club and all the men were just smoking hookah and buying drinks for each other. They didn't buy any drinks for any of the girls there, and I'm like, yo, it really sounds like the boys are just hanging out with the boys. Yeah, but. When men have been like, yo, if you approach a woman, you shot down. Like women were recording dudes hollering and posting the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like screenshotting shit. You're kind of creating this environment. But with all that being said, men are intimidated by successful women. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
And we'll go over this next week. I say all this to say, when I was in the group with the bros, I did realize that men are afraid of rejection. Facts. And one of the things that I want y'all to understand is that rejection is part of the game. Like, so to answer the question, why do modern men fail at dating? I think y'all I think y'all have been gaslit to believe that just because a guy is tall, just because a guy is good looking, that he gets all the women. He does not. He does not get all the women. He does fail. You know, he might get more women than you, but he might not if your game is good. And not only that, dude, if you were to put 5 dudes up in front of women, right? If you were to put Brad Pitt, Matthew McConaughey, Idris Elba, Michael Ealy, and give me another track.
Michael B. Jordan.
Hey, I add a 6th one, Jason Momoa. If you had to put those 6 guys up in front of women, and you was like, hey, pick out the most attractive guy, right? Women would pick one guy, and she'd say the rest of them are ugly. I lie to you not. That is how their brains work. If you had to put 6 attractive women in front of a man and say pick out the ugly one, a man would say they're all fine.
You might gotta. Okay.
A man would say they're all fine, right?
Take us. Look, we about to be out of here because now I gotta know.
Yeah. So I go out and say we'll finish this up next week, man. Because I know we already went over today. But the reason why modern men fail at dating is because you're afraid of rejection. You cannot be afraid of a no, bro. Like I could. You know what, man? Let's run a skit real quick here.
Oh, shit.
I am going to text somebody that I have not talked to in a long time.
This about to go left. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, probably. I got an email from Going saying that trips to London are $505, right? So I am going to text someone no, not bad at all, man. I'm gonna text
Ain't never been
someone in London.
And I'm
gonna be like,
this is live.
Just need a reason. I should have did this earlier. I should have did this early because they might be London 5 hours ahead. So she might be at dinner now.
Yeah, with her man.
Could be with her man. And I have not texted this person in over a year.
You know, my favorite it's a TikTok that's going around, and it's a black dude he's talking to this white guy. They doing like a little street video.
It is red.
See?
Let's see if we get a response.
That was quick.
Yeah. It was red. I haven't been responded to. Yeah. I have not texted this person since March of last year. And I'm doing this for a reason because I think y'all dudes are so afraid of rejection that you be like, man, what if she go cuss me out? What if she's, going to say who is this? And I like, yo, this is part of it. This is somebody that I have not talked to since March.
And what is an L? An L is just move on, bro.
That's it, man. You gotta learn from it. And I think men are really, really upset with this. And because I know y'all be like, yo, Pastor Mike Will don't get any women. Here, look at this. You gonna have to pause it. I want you to look in that mirror. What do you think?
She fine.
What do you think about this?
Oh, she fine.
Right.
Oh, she got hips.
Yeah, what do you think about this?
Yeah, she
got all right. So I know y'all go through this whole thing like, oh, Pastor Mike Will don't really talk to anybody.
Hey,
so
she got hips.
Yeah. So
she all right.
All right, she has not responded, but I'm gonna read the response when it comes because I want y'all to know that like, yo, it is nothing wrong with shooting your shot and airballing that motherfucker.
And I put it like this. Mike said it.
She said that was so random. That was her response.
Look, the door ain't closed.
That door's not closed. You cannot be afraid of rejection.
You know what?
There you go. That was so random.
She did right there.
Yeah.
Mike literally just sent a picture of the flight
and said, "Just need a reason."
Look. And so
shoot.
The joke about life is I work with a lot of young kids, whether in my profession, and it's too easy. I think that's the reason why modern men fail. It's so easy that they are scared.
They're afraid because you're wondering like what she's going to say. Like she could have said anything, and you're like, I don't know who this is. Is it a man? Is it a wrong number? And it's like, yo, of course everything could go wrong, but everything could also go right.
Yeah,
you don't know unless you try.
We make it easy for they learn in the text. Like I remember, and you remember more than I do, but I remember like if I liked a girl at school, I didn't talk to her over the summer. Right? Like I did not speak to her. It was no communication. I was glad when we finally got off a dial-up. Because when she did dial-up, you had to hope they was on AOL Messenger. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I remember once the internet really came into play, it's like, oh, these chat rooms, hopefully they're there. Now these kids can text. They can communicate. They don't never have to speak to nobody. The dating apps. You know what I'm saying? I remember during the summer when I used to want to go to camp, my mom was like, hell nah. Like, what you doing? Like, we're not doing that. That's why we always had to talk to girls at church because we knew we'd be there 4 days a week. You know what I'm saying? And so it was tough. But now it's so easy. And like you said, they are so scared of rejection. And you know what? the same thing that makes their communication easier is the same way they get destroyed. So these kids are mad that, yo, she gonna screenshot my cornball lines and post it online.
And that could get screenshot. Like literally, like
Look at this podcast, nigga.
Yeah, you know, I don't think she know I have a podcast. I try to keep those two worlds separate.
One day that's gonna benefit
for
you.
good reason.
Facts.
But anyway, but you know, she could very easily screenshot that, send it to, you know, her friends and be like, "This motherfucker ain't talked to me in a year."
Facts.
And then he's sending me a email, you know, screenshot talking about just need a reason.
Yeah, but you know how it is.
Oh, hey, let me read the response off. How long will you come for?
See. We in there.
Shoot, brother.
Podcast trip. The podcast will be recorded from London.
Just want to let y'all know that.
Look, man.
Live and on air, man.
Look, it only took a couple minutes.
I'm going to get y'all boys right, man. I'm not going to let y'all fall. I'm not going to let y'all fail,
Please get them right. Look, man, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I know it was a little bit longer, but, you know, y'all ain't got shit else to listen to. I want to thank y'all. Please tune in. You got anything going on this weekend?
Nah, I'm good. When this pod drop, if she makes it to the end, I'm be in so much trouble.
Facts, but she be good, man. We ain't gonna let them get this far. I mean, we will, but
it's a low pod, so I figure I'd take the shot.
Absolutely.
And my girl won't hear this.
Yeah, we good. Anyway, man, with that, we gonna holler at y'all next time.
Holler at your boy.